Hello everyone, I'm Sasha, and I sit here every Wednesday telling you true crime stories. The following episode contains descriptions of violent acts that some viewers may find troubling. Viewer discretion is advised. Today's story is speechless. It's very unsettling, weird, disgusting, just very unbelievable to say the least. Granny Ripper, Granny Chikatilo from Kupchino, and Baba Yaga. That's what Tamara Samsonova, who retired and started killing, was called. For a bit of a context, Chikatilo refers to Andrei Chikatilo, Russia's most infamous serial killers, whom I'll talk about in my other video, but just so you get that the nickname alone tells you how unsettling her case is. Tamara was born on February 5th in 1947 in the town of Uzhur in Krasnoyarsk, Russia. After graduating from high school, she moved to Moscow and entered Moscow State Linguistic University. After finishing her studies, she moved to St. Petersburg, where she met Alexei Samsonov. They eventually got married, and in 1971, they moved into a newly built panel house at number 4 on Dimitrova Street. They didn't have any children, and both were just living what seemed like a normal, quiet life. For some time, Tamara worked in the interest system, that is the Soviet state travel agency that managed tourism. But she never stayed long at any of her jobs. By the time she retired, she changed jobs 8 times, working at each place for only 2 or 3 years maximum. Her total work experience at the time of retirement was about 16 years. However, she was very intelligent. She knew multiple languages, in particular English and German. This language knowledge would come into play later when detectives found a personal diary in her apartment, written in both English and German, where she would meticulously describe her killings. That's right, that's what Tamara did, but we will get to that. In her 60s, Tamara was seen as harmless, the peaceful granny next door. No one ever suspected anything was wrong with her at first. She was living a quiet life until one day in the year of 2000, her husband went out for a walk and never came back. She filed a missing persons report, but unfortunately nothing came of it. He was never found. Then, strangely, 15 years later, in 2015, she went to the police again to file another report about her missing husband. Why she waited 15 years to do so? I don't know, and nobody knows. But that's what she did. And once again, sadly, there were no leads, no witnesses, no sign of her husband whatsoever. By the time her neighbors started to notice something odd about Tamara, she was acting strangely. She was saying unsettling things, and neighbors even noted that she would often walk barefoot in the hallway and up and down the stairs of the building, regardless of whether it was summer or a freezing winter. She also loved going for walks only at night, saying that daytime wasn't her favorite time of the day. But the neighbors just thought that she was a little eccentric, a harmless old lady. I don't know about you, but I remember when I was growing up, we always had those quirky elderly neighbors who seemed a bit odd. Some would talk to themselves, others would grumble at us kids, just a bit strange. So no one thought much of Tamara's behavior, brushing it off as just another eccentricity. At some point though, Tamara got lonely. She was retired and she thought of a way to make some extra money. And she came up with a plan to rent out rooms in her apartment to tenants. As neighbors recall, she had a few tenants moving in and out over the years, but there was one particular incident that stood out as especially suspicious. At one point, Tamara had a 44-year-old male tenant living with her in 2003. One day, neighbors heard Tamara and her tenant just loudly arguing over something. And a few days later, no one saw the tenant anymore. What's that about? Where did he disappear? Just like her husband suddenly went missing and there was no sign of him. Well, the neighbors, they all just assumed that after this fight she moved out, which is reasonable and plausible. You know, he didn't want to live with Tamara anymore, so he just moved out. But that did raise a little bit of red flags, considering her husband had suddenly gone missing and now one of her tenants was too. So, you know, something was going on. But still, no one could say anything for sure. No one had any evidence. No one had any, specific clues. So as years went by, nothing significant happened that would raise serious suspicions. Tamara was just living on, acting oddly. But by that time, everyone had basically gotten used to her eccentric ways. Now, it's June 9th, 2015. A resident of the apartment complex where Tamara lived is walking outside and she notices some sort of bundle. Curious, she decided to look inside. Mind you, for days no one had looked to see what the bundle was or what might be inside. So, if not for the curiosity of this woman, who knows what would have happened. Anyway, she peeks inside and she's just shocked. She's horrified by what she sees. Inside was a headless body with severed limbs wrapped in a bathroom curtain. Just a side note, props to people who are curious enough to look inside suspicious bags, because thanks to them, we sometimes find remains of missing people or uncover other significant clues. Personally, I would never be able to do that. If I saw something suspicious, I'd either freak out and run away or just keep my distance and call the cops. So that's just me. I would never come near to anything that looks weird or, out of place. Anywho, so the remains are found near a pond by the houses where Tamara and the woman who discovered the body lived. The next day, on June 10th, police identified who the body belonged to with the help of neighbors. They knew someone in the building was missing and hadn't been seen in days. They identified the body as that of Valentina Ulanova, 79 years old. Police went up to her apartment to investigate. When they got to the door, they were surprised to see Tamara opening it. Now, Tamara, what are you doing in someone else's apartment? You don't live here. Why are you opening the door? They were confused, obviously, but immediately went inside to look for evidence. They didn't even have to question Tamara. Everything was right there. There was blood that someone had sloppily tried to clean up, but not well enough. The bathroom also had bloodstains. The shower curtain was ripped off, and 2 bloody knives were found in the kitchen. Ooh, Tamara, oh, Granny Ripper, you are in big trouble. The evidence was overwhelming, and she couldn't deny what was in front of them. This harmless-looking grandmother was hiding a dark secret. Tamara met 79-year-old Valentina in March of 2015. Valentina lived in the same street, just in a different building. An acquaintance of Tamara's, who knew Valentina well, asked if Valentina would be kind enough and willing to temporarily provide shelter for an elderly lady, saying that this lady's, meaning Tamara's, apartment was being renovated. Valentina, being the kind soul she was, agreed and welcomed Tamara to stay with her. So they lived together for a couple of months. Tamara helped her with household chores, cleaning and cooking. Tamara liked living in Valentina's apartment so much, she had no intentions of moving out anytime soon. But Valentina had grown tired of the arrangement and was insisting that Tamara move out. They constantly argued about it. After yet another argument, Tamara decided that in her mind, the only way she could continue living in this amazing apartment was to get rid of Valentina. She traveled to a small village and, through deception and an expensive gift, managed to convince a pharmacist to sell her a large dosage of phenazepam, which was only available by strict prescription. She then returned to the city. She stopped by a supermarket to buy Valentina's favorite salad, Olivier, and went back to Valentina's apartment. Before serving the salad, she crushed all the phenazepam pills into it. Poor Valentina. Poor Valentina. She ate the whole salad. She ate the whole thing. And as a result of overdose, died of a heart attack. For those of you who don't know, phenazepam is a strong sedative similar to Xanax and is used as an anti-anxiety drug. It's only allowed under strict doctor supervision and prescription. In high doses, it can cause drowsiness and confusion, or like in Valentina's case, even lead to a fatal heart attack from overdose. Tamara found Valentina's corpse on the night of July 23rd, 2015, lying on the kitchen floor. That's when she began to dismember it with 2 knives and a saw. First, she sawed off the victim's head, then sawed the body in half, and after that, she cut it into pieces with knives. This is so awful, so disgusting. Like, how could an old lady do something like that? How was she even capable of that? I can't wrap my head around it. She then proceeded to dispose of the body parts, wrapping some into the bathroom curtain and others in big blue garbage bags. It took her 7 trips to carry each bag of body parts out of the apartment, one after the other, under the surveillance cameras, which ultimately captured her every move. Thank God there were surveillance cameras in the building. When all this came to light, the police officer, who years earlier had worked on a case involving dismembered male body parts, recalled that the man in that case was killed and disposed of in manner similar to Valentina. But then they had no leads. Now, there was a strong suspicion that Tamara might have been responsible, and it was believed that this earlier victim could have been one of Tamara's missing tenants. Tamara was taken into custody, and police began to search her apartment for additional evidence, hoping to uncover clues that might connect her to the other murders. During the search, they discovered a disturbing item: a diary. Tamara had been meticulously documenting her life, writing in English and German. But what's most unsettling is that her diary included detailed accounts of her alleged killings. She wrote about each murder in graphic detail: how she used phenazepam to drug her victims, how she dismembered the bodies, and the methods she used to dispose of them. Everything was written in her diary. Investigators found entries describing up to 10 possible murders that Tamara allegedly committed over the years. She wrote about her thoughts and fantasies, giving an eerie glimpse into the mind of someone capable of such horrific crimes. None of the alleged murders were ever confirmed. She was officially accused only of the murder of Valentina Ulanova. Tamara was ordered to undergo a forensic psychiatric examination, and on November 26, 2015, the results were returned. The examination established that Tamara suffered from a severe form of schizophrenia and posed a danger to herself and others. She was declared legally insane and was placed in a specialized psychiatric hospital. Due to her condition, she was deemed unfit to stand trial. Tamara remains alive and is still held in a high-security psychiatric hospital in Russia. To this day, it's unknown how many people Tamara may have truly killed. It is assumed that at least 2 victims are confirmed, and it's likely that her husband's disappearance was no accident, most probably. He too was killed by Tamara. The true scope of Tamara Samsonova's crimes remains a mystery. She's left behind a trail of unanswered questions and the horrifying possibility that there are more victims whose fates may never be known. Cases like these remind us that evil can sometimes hide in the most unexpected places. Tamara was a quiet, seemingly harmless elderly woman. A face you'd likely pass by without a second thought. But beneath that unassuming exterior lay a mind capable of unthinkable horrors. Thank you for being here with me today and listening to this story. I hope you liked it. Remember to stay curious, but please be safe. Subscribe for more true crime stories, and I'll see you next week with another dark tale. Bye for now.